unfold the way I would have liked it to unfold. And so then we attempt, and in our attempt, we are attempting to make sure that that doesn't happen again. That thing that didn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out, the thing that didn't unfold the way you would have liked for it to unfold, we fully engage in an attempt to make that not happen again. And so, in our attempt to keep it from happening again, we unconsciously create more of the past. In our attempt to keep it from not happening again, we unconsciously create experiences that create more of the same. We're attempting to create our own little perfect world where our feelings don't get hurt and our emotions can be kept at bay. Our attempt to form and create our own little perfect world where our feelings don't get hurt and our emotions can be kept at bay, where we can protect ourselves, where we can protect ourselves. Now, in case you don't know, let me tell you, then that is a world that's surely being led by your ego and not your God self. Your ego. And so, I want to read to you the 22nd verse of the Tao. And this comes from Wayne Dyer's book. And the 22nd verse of the Tao reads this: the flexible are preserved unbroken. The bent become straight, the empty are filled, the exhausted become renewed, the poor are enriched, the rich are confounded. Therefore, the sage embraces the one. Because he doesn't display himself, people can see his light. Because he has nothing to prove, people can trust his words. Because he doesn't know who he is, people recognize themselves in him. Because he has no goal in mind, everything he does succeeds. The old saying that the flexible are preserved unbroken is surely right. If you have truly attained wholeness, everything will flock to you. So, in other words, many of us have lost our wholeness. The reading said that some of us are broken, beat, empty, exhausted, poor, confounded, and confused. Living mostly as our egoic self because it's all that we are left with, seemingly left with. It's all that we are seemingly left with. And Ernest Holmes says that the ego is not enough to meet the issues of life. The ego is not enough to meet the issues of life, for it soon flounders. It soon goes astray. It soon it is out seeking to become something that it is not. And this is our unconscious attempt to keep our past alive. So you might be saying to yourself, Rev T, what you talking about? I ain't trying to keep my past alive. You might be saying to yourself, why would I want to keep my past alive? Well, simply, it's safe. Because it's safe. And you don't have to deal with your what ifs. You don't have to deal with your what ifs. And in order to remain safe, you keep things the way they are. But as long as you are tied to being safe, you will continue to keep love, to keep trust, to keep peace at bay. You'll continue to keep it all You are only a step away from despair, just as you are only a step away from enlightenment.
Yes.
It's your choice. You're either a step away from despair, or you can be a step away from enlightenment. It's your choice. And so the invitation is to let go of our what ifs and be present with what is. Let go of our what ifs so that we can be present to what is, to become available to all that there is. Because when that happens, when we stop resisting, all of life can pour into us. When we let go of our resistance, when we become flexible to life, when we become able to bend and not break, all of life will come rushing to you. The universe in all of its good will begin to surround you. And moment by moment and day by day become whatever it is that you need in that moment.
Yes.
And in The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, he calls this resistance negativity. And I want to read a little bit what he says about negativity, and I want to read to you a little bit of what he says about resistance. He says, to offer no resistance to life is to be in a state of grace, ease, and lightness. This state is then no longer dependent upon things being in a certain way, good or bad. It seems almost paradoxical, yet when your inner dependency on form is gone, the general conditions of your life, the outer forms, tend to improve. Things, people, or conditions that you thought you needed for your happiness now comes to you with no struggle or effort on your part. And you are free to enjoy and appreciate them while they last. He says that this happiness that is derived from some secondary source is never very deep. It is only a pale reflection of the joy of being, the vibrant peace that you find within you as you enter the state of non-resistance. Being takes you beyond the polar opposites of the mind and frees you for dependency on form. Even if everything were to collapse and crumble all around you, you would still feel a deep inner core of peace. You may not be happy, but you will be at peace. And what he says about this negativity, this resistance, he's terming negativity and resistance as the same thing. And so what he says about it is that the ego believes that through negativity, it can manipulate reality and get what it wants. It believes that through it can attract a desirable condition or dissolve an undesirable one. A Course in Miracles rightly points out that whenever you are unhappy, there is the unconscious belief that unhappiness buys you what you want. And if you, the mind, did not believe that unhappiness works, then why would you create it? The fact is, of course, that negativity does not work. The fact is, of course, that resistance does not work. Instead of attracting a desirable condition, it stops it from arising. Instead of dissolving an undesirable one, it keeps it in place. Its only useful function is that it strengthens the ego, and that is why the ego loves it. Once you have identified with some form of negativity, you do not want to let it go. On a deeply unconscious level, you do not want positive change. It would threaten your identity. So our grand invitation then today is to let go of this resistance, to let go of the negativity. In his book, he goes on to tell a story about humans are the only ones who holds on to negativity, who continues to engage in the act of resistance. And he tells a story about nature and how all animals all surrender to life and become present with what is. And in the book, there's a story about ducks. And he says that he's out at a pond and he's watching ducks. And they're all in the pond swimming peacefully as they normally do in their own space, going with the flow of life most of the time. And he said every now and then he would see two ducks get into a squat, a spat. And mostly what has happened is that one duck has entered into the space of another duck. And so the ducks begin to spat or squat.
Or squabble.
And then in the next second, the ducks go their own separate way, move back into peace, and the one that was full of resistance and negativity flaps his wings to release the negativity. I say it's time we all decide to begin to flap our wings, to resist the urge within us to resist life, to push it away, to keep it at bay, to push love away, to push joy away, to push peace away, that we just, flap it on out, let it all go, become flexible, willing to bend to life and not break. Because I have a cat, and you all know that I have a cat, or some of you do. And when I was getting ready for the day, I thought, life is a lot like cats. Cats go where they want to go, and they do what they want to do. A lot like life. Life goes where it wants to go, and it does what it wants to do. And until we become flexible enough to bend and not break, to go with it and not against it, not to keep it at bay, we'll continue to create a life that's only protecting us and keeping us safe. But the invitation is for us to be free, to begin to fully live life, to place our attention on the eternal cause within us that brings a lasting effect. An eternal cause within us, God within us, all that there is that creates a lasting effect. See, it doesn't end. It doesn't end when you begin to invite it in. You'll find it in your relationships. You'll find it at work. You'll find it in your health. You'll find it in your wealth. You'll find yourself becoming more and more available to being loved and to be loved. You'll find yourself becoming more and more available to trust life and to know that you are trusted. You see, you have to be willing in yourself to be present with life, to be present with God, to not to seek a way out, but to seek a way in, because change ain't going nowhere, and we might as well embrace it, because we can never get closer to God than where we already are. Change the past. Ernest Holmes says that it is within our power to provide a greater mental equivalent through the unfolding of consciousness, and that this growth within will finally lead us to freedom. He says that what we demonstrate today, tomorrow, and the next day is not as important as the tendency which our thought is taking, the dominant attitude of our mind, that if every day things are a little better, a little happier, a little more harmonious, a little more health-giving and joyous. If each day we're expressing more life, we're going in the right direction. He says that as we contact this higher principle of our own lives, which is perfect and complete, needing nothing, wanting nothing, knowing everything, being happy and satisfied, that as we daily meditate upon this indwelling God, we shall acquire a greater mental equivalent. And for those who have dwelt on limited thoughts, a very good practice is to dwell upon the magnitude of the universe. Begin to think about how many stars there are, and how many fishes there are in the sea, and how many grains of sand is on the beach. Think of how big the ocean is, of the immensity of space, the bigness of everything, the grandeur of everything. Mechanically, if necessary, compel the mentality to cognize reality, compel your consciousness to begin to recognize truth through reason. If no other conviction comes, think, see, and feel activity, radiate life, feel that there is that within which is the center and the circumference of the universe, the center and the circumference of your own universe. Begin to think and ponder on this great eternal cause with its lasting effect, where we can affirm and know together that I am loved and I am loving, that I can trust life, I can trust the universe, I can trust the world to conspire for my good in any way and in every way. Begin to affirm that life is for you and that nothing can be against you. Begin to affirm and know, look for God in all situations. Let your past go. Begin to decide within yourself to no longer resist, but to allow God, its eternal power and presence, to move you in life with a great expectancy of good and only good, of God and only God. Practitioners, join me and helping to anchor this idea that I'm one with spirit, and that the ground that I stand on is holy, that my roots run deep into the rich soil of the infinite all good, and that good is flowing through me and flowing through you now, and that no longer will we be deterred or disturbed by what we see and what we hear, but rather, in this moment, each one of us are moved from within to glory to greater glory, from good to even more good, from love and more love, to peace and more peace, to trust and infinite trust, where we dwell on the eternal great cause of life with the great effect that is unending, where we are sure to know that love is forever, where we are sure and we know that peace is forever, where we are sure to know that whenever we need understanding is at hand, where we are sure and we know when we need to call in the great harmony of life, that harmony takes over, that we move forward in grace, in goodness, one with God, O-N-E, one with God. So, as I stand in this truth, and great acceptance for this truth for me and for you, I know a grand and a good universe that says yes, that only says yes to whatever the desire may be. So I just know then that each one of us in this moment are experiencing healing that we're not even aware of, that the revealing of the truth is so crisp, so clear, that we all may see our way forward this day. And I'm so grateful about it. I'm so glad about it. I'm so happy about it. I'm so joyous about it. I'm so thrilled about it, that I know grateful, 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 and knowing that all of our needs, all your needs, all my needs, all of our needs, all the centerpiece needs are met. So in this moment, I'm just moving to allow these words to be. Simply letting them go, where everything within me is affirming now in this moment to be so. Where I'm moved in an instant to an even greater expectancy. An even greater expectancy of something so good, something so magnificent, something brand new. That we just simply allow it to be. When we come together and anchor these words by saying, and so it